black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Casamigos to the face, baby I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on that tight frame. All game, no shame, baby can't get a plane. I feel like an addict cause she's sex, drugs, cocaine.
Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Formula Icons Cup for the final race of the season, race 9 from the DGT Seaside. The track is 3.24 miles in length, it's got 19 corners and it's yellow on the tyre damage indicator. And this circuit is basically the admin's test circuit, which is why it's called the DGT Seaside. Okay, for the final time this season, let's take a look at the track. This time with the assistance of SRI. So here we go then, DGT Seaside through the kink, which is not turn 1. And then we're heading into Demon's Elbow. Nice late braking into a left and right chicane. Tricky on the exit here if you get too aggressive. Got to be careful with that curve. And then we're into the kink. And now we're heading down the hill to Brokeback. Fantastic flat out first part. Tricky braking for the second. Get on the power nice and early to head up the hill and over the crest to Dick Curve, named because Rich Blues hit that barrier on the left for the first time. Now we're into the S's, absolutely flat out on the way in here. Dirty air could be an issue during the race though. Now we're up over the crest of the hill and now we're running down to the Harbour hairpin. Tricky braking zone this because it's such high speed. Tricky apex as well. Now we put the steering for the short run now to Mitch's Bommel. A flat out right all over the curbs. Careful of this curb on the left, still flat out, then turn it in, thread the needle flat out through the Bommel and hope you don't smash a barrier. Now we've got one corner to go and that's not stopping, named because it's very easy to not stop on here. SRI has done it quite nicely though, and then we're through into the last kink and it's a short run to the finish line and there we go. That's DGT Seaside. Very quick circuit in lap time and in speed. I do just want to say though, thank you to SRI for taking us for a lap around the seaside. Let's take a look then at the current championship standings. Steve F1 already confirmed as champion, Demon R second place, SGP in third with a bit of a gap to Jason in fourth, Dave the Harp in fifth, and then we've got the battle for sixth, Twilight in sixth with Formula Gary seventh, Art Pal eighth, Conrad ninth, Fluffy 10th, Hay in 11th, Mitch 12th, SRI 13th, in 14th it's Rich Blues, in 15th it's Jimmy, and in 16th it's Bunzel. Okay, let's take a look then at the result of qualifying. And Steve F1 is going to be doing the Champions Challenge, so he'll start at the back. So for qualifying session number 9, the DGT Seaside on pole position, we've got Demon R. And joining him on the front row will be SGP, only 0.19 behind Demon R. Dave the Arp will start in third place and he'll be joined on that second row by Jason. Good starting position for the both of them. In fifth we've got Formula Gary with a brilliant qualifying session and great lap time to start in that position. With Twilight, he'll start in sixth place. I think he's been sixth quite a bit this season. Jimmy, a brilliant qualifying session for him, starts in seventh place, and joining him on row 4 it's Hay. Doesn't normally set a lap time, did today, and I don't blame him. He's running a different livery though. Rich Blues will start in ninth place. And then Artpal will be 11th. He got disconnected during qualifying, so we'll start, 10th. And Steve F1 doing the Champions Challenge will start 11th. So everybody else will go at the green light, or the light's going out. Steve F1 will wait until the first car gets to the exit of the final corner. Unfortunately, a few drivers missing. It's just the way things go sometimes. Hopefully we'll see them back on the track for the next championship. So let's see how Steve F1 is going to get on with his Champions Challenge. See if anybody different can win today. We'll see how Gary gets on from one of his best qualifying positions. So there we go then. Let's hand over to the commentators. So here we go then for the final race of the DGT season at DGT Seaside, and in the commentary box is Raymond. How are you, Ray?
I'm not too bad. How's yourself?
I'm great, but what's better is cars going racing as the lights go out, away they go, and they're off on a flyer. It looks like Demon R once again has had a decent start. Is SGP holding on to that second place, or is Dave the Arm going to steal it off him down into turn 1, the Demon's Elbow?
Oh, no, he managed to keep that there. Sorry, I'm getting my track map up as well.
As soon as I said turn 1, I thought, oh shit, I don't put my track map up. Okay, Demon R got a lead ahead of SGP. Dave the Harp is closing in on SGP a little bit. Well, I say closing in, we've only just started. Jason having a bit of a sneaky look at the back of Formula Gary, and then at the background.
As we go into the curve, hopefully they don't have any issues there.
I would hope not.
Jason.
There was Jimmy. Jimmy was a little bit. What? Yeah, Jimmy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jimmy a bit sideways on occasion at this track, especially through Mitch's bombhole. Jason coming under a bit of pressure from Artpal, I think. No, from Hay. Sorry, Hay in a changed livery. He did ask for permission. I think it was only granted because it's got an alcohol brand on it. Okay, through Mitch's bombhole, the drivers go absolutely flat out in these cars. Someone was wide. I think that was Hay. Don't drink and drive. You'll end up in the barrier. On the pack cam, we're looking at Steve F1. No, we're not. We're looking at Twilight. We did see Steve F1 on the start-finish straight, who can now get going, and he is underway to begin his Champions Challenge.
Oh, good luck to him. He's got a hard race, especially here with these cars.
Absolutely, but he will have a bit of time to just get into rhythm with the car around the track. Twilight coming under a bit of pressure. Formula Gary making the move. Is he down into Demon's Elbow? Twilight gives him the room but holds on to the position. And I've got a breaking story to tell you, Ray, but I might have to wait until a little later in the race. I think I will. I'll wait until a little later into the race.
Gary looking at it, but he broke a bit early there.
He did.
Broke
back.
He broke
a
bit early, then broke back.
Ooh, who was that got a little bobbly? It was Rich. Sorry, from the back, for some reason it looked like...
I thought it was Dave the Harp.
I did. It looked like the back of a Williams just because of the yellow and blue. Okay, Jason's still got Jimmy and Rich Blues right behind him. Oh, Jimmy having a little bit of a look. Can't do anything about it though. So Twilight, who's that? Is that Rich and Jimmy side by side?
Yeah. Rich and Jimmy side by side as we come up to the Mitch's bomb hole. So
Twilight!
be careful.
Yep, that's just put a dent in Mitch's bomb hole. That's a bit of a disaster for Twilight. Or Jason having a look at making the move on Formula Gary into the final corner, not stopping, but Gary going all the way around the outside, or should I say holding it around the outside. He may get the better exit here as well, as I think someone Twilight may be peeling into the pits. Oh, excuse me, Gary coming through.
Yeah, after his crash at Mitch's bumhole, his tyres will be a wee bit more damaged.
Jason's going for it. No, he's not.
Nope, sorry.
He pulled out to go for it and then didn't go for it.
Even though it's a yellow track, still when you crash it's going to mess up your tyres.
Oh, you know what? It wasn't Twilight that pitted, it was Artpal. So Jason still hasn't got past Formula Gary. Oh, he might now because Gary's gone wide. Compromised himself, coming out of Brokeback. He's also out of position a little bit. No, he's managed to tuck back in. If Jason's wise, though, he'll try and do him down into the hairpin. Jimmy all over the back of Hay. Jimmy got a bit... Oh, he's pulled out too soon, I think. That's going to give Rich Blues the opportunity. Yeah, Rich taking a slipstream. He's gone to the inside. Always backed out of it though. Jason didn't go for the move either.
No. Rich. I got it hurt. Nearly I thought he was collecting Twilight there as well. Was that Jimmy was on the wall then? It was
no,
Jimmy.
That's Jimmy.
No.
That's Jimmy at the wall.
Right, that was Rich.
Twilight! No. Well, it's not an unsafe return to track because he never left it, but he definitely moved into the firing line there. Twilight has got Rich Blues right up his chuff now on the pack cam. Up at the front though, Demon Arm leading the way from SGP, who's still got Dave the Harp not too far behind him. Steve F1 though, who's just got into Brokeback now. Twilight and Rich Blues going into the pits now. With the pit strategy, well, clearly they're doing something a little different, as is Art Pal. There's haze all over the back of Jason here. He nearly went massively sideways there. But yeah, I think for the front runners, 2-stop should be comfortably doable. Yeah, some may do a 3, but you can easily get 13 minutes out of the tyres around this track.
It must be very quiet up front because we've not been up front.
I think you're right. If we look, on the pack cam, we're on board Demon Eye. We can see SGP is there. He's closed the gap in a little bit. So we do have a bit of a battle going on for the lead, but things are a little closer elsewhere at the moment. Hay on the back of Jason. To be fair, I think with 3 cars having pitted already, it has kind of spread things out a little bit. Also, obviously, with Steve F1 doing the Champions Challenge, he's definitely spread out. Hay was so close to the wall there. But yeah, we're on the main screen now. SGP is nearly within touching distance of Demon R, so maybe he will be able to give us a bit of excitement up at the front.
Yeah, he's in dive bomb range.
Well, yeah. Who was that? I think that might have been Rich that's just no, it wasn't Rich. Someone behind Twilight has just absolutely annihilated Mitch's bombhole. Yeah, I think it may have been Jimmy. I could be wrong. Dave the Arp's still sitting in 3rd place at the moment, so he's doing okay. We're only 6 minutes in, but hopefully Dave can. Dave can get beyond 10 minutes, he's got a chance of doing a 2-stop here. Jason may be getting a little bit frustrated at only having seen the back. Oh no! Now the side of Gary's car. He's even felt the side of Gary's car, but now he is ahead. What do you reckon the chances are that Gary's going to come back past him at the hairpin?
Yeah, he'll get the slipstream up the hill, won't he? It'll be a wee bit of dirty air, but if he can control it, he'll have this. Well, will he have the slipstream? He looks a wee bit far back, so maybe not.
Maybe the dirty air is a lot more effective.
No! It's gone. Yeah, that was a bit far back in that one.
Yeah.
I was only kidding about dive bombs.
Hay and Art Pal side by side. Art Pal with the fresher tyres, having pitted after a couple of laps. I think that may have been strategic. Also with Art Pal, he did get disconnected during qualifying, so that's why he started at the back, so wheel to wheel with Hay at the moment and not stop him. Art Pal gets through.
I wonder why there was a qualifying picture in the admin's chat on race night.
Yeah, basically Art Pal was lagging and ended up sort of having to disconnect, and so we restarted the session. Art Pal going for the move on Formula Gary. We saw these two side by side a lot at the previous race. They weren't side by side for very long there.
Can he capitalise on this as well? He's side by side, he's got the inside coming into Brokeback. No, he's backed out.
Yeah, I don't blame him for backing out there. It's a tricky one to go side by side, but he was in position to try and stick it in there if he could. On the pack cam, SGP has dropped away from Demon R. I'm wondering, we see Gary running wide. I think the dirty air is a lot more effective here, especially through these S's up the hill. Because we're not seeing cars close the gap up the hill and down to the hairpin. It's more being opened up a little bit, as Hay having a look into the hairpin. Can't quite get it done though. So I do think the dirty air may be a lot more aggressive than we've seen recently.
Yeah, especially at high speeds, isn't it? Because you're taking away the downforce, as is that Hay just found out?
Yep. That it was. Yeah.
when you're at high speed, you've got that. Oh, Gary, it's what he was taking Art Pal off the track there.
I was about to give him a new name. Oh, fucking hell, Gary. I think Gary's going to go for the move here. See, now, through the final corner, not stopping, and down the main straight, I think you can run a lot closer. The dirty air is not going to affect you as much. Art Pal covers the inside. Gary doesn't go for it. Art Pal retakes the race in line. So, as we've seen, Gary's been able to really get close. Could have potentially attacked there. But let's see if he's able to stay close now, once we've got through Brokeback. On the pack cam, looks like we're on board with SGP, who's probably too far back from Demon R to get slipstream. Probably also too far back to be affected by dirty air. So, let's see what's going to happen. Oh, no, we won't have what's going to happen with Gary. Yeah, so bit of a gap going on up at the front now, isn't it? Well, I say that. It's still close enough that Demon R can't exactly relax and cruise this one, because it only takes one moment to lose a couple of tenths, and SGP is going to be all over him. I can't tell you.
It only takes one bum hole to lose a lot of seconds.
Wow, yeah, exactly. But I've watched your video clip. Wow.
Oh yeah, didn't it sound like Fluffy?
It did a bit, yeah.
And the way he came about with the joke, I was like, am I
the kind of
convoying with Fluffy? I was like, is that Fluffy?
Well, Fluffy wasn't in the race this week. Hay is, though, and he's got a decent run on Gary here. Gary was not able to get close.
He's pitted.
Yeah, that he has. Hay was not able to get close through the S's down into the hairpin. So you can see he's closing in now again. I mean, he either... he's going to go for it.
Always go for it.
Yeah. Oh. Well, he was having a look, Art Pal. I mean, he's gone for the apex, but he was ahead when he went for it, just. Okay, who's on the pack cam? That's Jimmy. Rich Blues, though, is all over the back of Gary. I think Rich may have fresher tyres. Gary hasn't stopped yet. Oh, Gary!
He's gone wide. And you can see Gary's tyres at the bottom there. If you may look, I forgot about that, sorry.
Oh, Twilight's in the barrier! Oh, that was a definite Code Brown moment. Hay has pitted, so he's on fresh rubber. But how long have we had gone? 11.5 minutes. So a minute and a half to go, and we can see the two stoppers making their first pit stop, I reckon. For SGP, though, if he was to think about it, pitting now might not be a bad idea to try and get an undercut on Demon R and take the lead. Art Pal scrubbing the wall there. You're okay scrubbing that one. You don't want to scrub the exit ones. But Art Pal, having pitted after 2 laps, is now on the back of Jason, and probably won't have to pit for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, because his pit stop wasn't that far away. Who's that in the pits?
Jason.
Jason.
Yeah, well...
Gary's kept going, so see how long he's going to take these tyres.
Yeah, maybe he's feeling comfortable on the tyres as Jimmy's closing in, having a look up the inside. Oh, he's having a big look up the inside. Ends up being 3 wide. Jimmy makes them. How the hell has Jimmy got through there? Oh!
Because he's got the inside to the first corner, but see the second part, you're going round outside, you've got more speed, haven't you? Compared to what somebody taking a tighter line.
True. Also, Gary's tyres are now suffering a lot, and Jimmy's, I think, are fairly new. Gary trying to go, oh, he's wide, he's wide. Oh, can he slow it down? Oh, he's done well to not end up in a bigger crash than that was for a moment there. That could easily have sent him spinning around. I mean, that really could have got his attention if it had had a big spin there. For Rich Blues, though, he's closing in on the back of Jimmy. So let's see. Rich's tyres aren't looking too bad. To be fair, we saw him pit a little while ago. Always having a cheeky look, but not able to make the move. As Jimmy goes a little bit sideways through the bomb on. Demon R's pitted. SGP didn't pit the lap before, didn't go for the undercut, and SGP isn't pitting now.
His tyres?
Oh, that's Demon R's tyres. No, it's not.
That's SGP.
You're right, it's SGP's tyres.
But even though they're kind of equal, like near enough, but at that rate, I'd be looking to pit. I wouldn't, especially when Demon R comes out with these new tyres.
The thing is, though, Demon R has just come out behind Where is he? He's there. He's behind Hay. So he's got a bit of traffic. He's come out in 6th place. Also, Jason has jumped Dave the Harp through the pit stops. Dave was pitted at the same time as well as Demon R. Hay didn't get sideways. Rich got a little bit sideways. As this is a little bit frantic now, heading towards. This is probably what SGP's hoping for. That Demon R is going to get held up here in this traffic, so that SGP can pick, because he'll hope that Demon R is not going to get the boost.
Oh, he's nearly got the sand.
Yep, that he has. Jimmy having a bit of a look on Rich Blues. Demon R going for the switchback. Is it a double? It's a tag team switchback. Takes 2 of them in one corner. He'll get the boost now as the car's following that 2x2 through the bus. It's not the bus stop. It's the bumhole.
Yeah, that was a nice move from Demon R there. Just seen a gap and went for it.
SGP is in the pits. Question is now, where is SGP going to come out? Because if he was hoping that Demon R would get stuck in traffic, I've got a
contact at the back there.
I've got a feeling that SGP is going to come out in a bit of traffic. A couple of cars have pitted. Jimmy's pitted. Oh yeah, SGP is going to be behind Jason. Is he going to be behind Dave the Arp? Yeah, Dave the Arp's coming past him. So SGP's lost out big time. I think that's kind of like what you were saying, Ray. Doing the extra lap hasn't helped him in any way, shape or form.
Is it going to help him at the end of he's going to be 2-stopping. He can't go another, how many minutes we've got left?
Yeah, he's not doing 25 minutes. One of the problems for him, though, is that Dave the Harp has just pitted the lap before, so he's got fresh tyres. Jason pitted the lap before that, he's got fresh tyres. So there's at least Jason and Dave that SGP's going to have to battle with. Jason making the move now on Hay. He's going to have the outside line. Hopefully this is where Jason will be brave and push. Oh, Twilight! Oh, he had a mass on it. SGP's out of control. I think that may have been from Twilight being out of control. Jason did take that outside line, took the bravery, or had the bravery. He had those Swedish meatballs and made it still. Oh, hey! Oh!
They have his turn up. I wonder if there's some haggis with his turn up.
It might do. Okay, SGP, he's lost out a little bit more there. I think by the looks of it, from what I could see, I think Art Powell's into the pits, by the way. So Art Powell, I think, was leading the race, actually. Go on.
Just seen that Rich was going to turn for the pits and then realised SGP was beside him.
I didn't see that, so yeah, well spotted. Maybe we should do a G-spot about that at some point. Dave the Harp makes the move on Hay, I believe. I've not really been watching for the last half a lap. Oh, Hay!
Oh, where's Hay's gone? Where's he gone?
He's still on the grass. He's still on the grass.
He's going to get it slowed down for this count.
He's all right. He's all right.
Oh, he's all right. As we see, SGP and Twilight are having a wee battle here. So this is went downhill for SGP at this moment in time.
It definitely is going downhill. But don't worry, it's about to go uphill. Oh, Hay! No.
Is he suffering from tyres?
He's suffering from something. It's all over the place. SGP's got to run on Twilight. This is where Twilight dipped a wheel on the previous lap. Is SGP going to go for the move? Yes, he is. I think SGP had the fresher toys. He's backed out of it a bit. I'm surprised at that. As Hay maybe got a little bit too forceful on Jimmy there. And there's Steve F1. Steve F1 is now in the pack.
But Steve F1's still got to have a pit, so he's...
Are you sure he hasn't pitted already?
Oh, I can never tell. Well, can we get on him so we can see his tyres?
I don't know. Oh, SGP's having a look up the inside of Twilight. Can't quite get the move done, though.
Steve F1 was looking to go up. Oh,
there
he has pitted.
He has pitted, yeah. So, Steve F1
SGP's in trouble here.
He is. Steve F1. So, it's taken him 18 minutes to catch up, and he's done a pit stop. To be fair, he's done extremely well, as he's in a bit of a battle at the moment, though. Is that Hay up the inside? Yes, it is. Twilight's got a bit wide. Twilight, I think, just tagged the side of SGP as well. Not a lot you can really do about that.
Steve F1. SGP's further up.
That is true. I meant Steve F1. SGP's all over the back. I think SGP may have just had a moment as well where he's gone, hang on, Steve F1's here already and he's pitted. You having a laugh? But yeah, if you think about it, boost is about 6 seconds a lap extra as SGP. Have a look up the inside of Gary. Gary's having none of it. Lovely bit of driving from the pair of them. This is where we'll see if the dirty air is going to be bad. It's not great. SGP's got to run. He's going to have to make the move, because if he don't, Steve F1's on him.
Yeah, Steve F1's gaining quick time because he's got that bit of gap.
Ooh.
So, oh no, he's not. Oh, Jimmy.
I think Jimmy's let him back through, but that definitely he couldn't fit a Sprite in that gap. Only a 7-Up. I thought someone was.
Oh, it's Steve F1 close to the wall. Who else was that?
I'll tag the wall there quite hard. I think it might have been the dirty air. So Steve F1 making the move on Formula Gary now. I think Gary's tyres are going to be a little more tired than Steve F1's. But yeah, Steve F1 would have been getting 6 seconds of boost. Oh, Jimmy! That's one way to go in the pits. Is he in the pits?
Just don't go in reverse. Just don't go in reverse, Jimmy.
He's not got into the pits. I think he's learned his lesson from earlier this season. Gary, is he going to go for the move on Steve F1? Yes, he is.
Yes.
He's at least having a look. But here comes Hartpow. Oh, it's a bit too deep. And he's now going to come under pressure from Hay with the switcheroo.
No, he's not.
Because Hay's doing a little bit of a dance.
He's doing his ballerina.
Aye.
Let's do a little pirouette. Gary pushing Steve F1 through Brokeback there.
Yeah. Well, interestingly now, this situation we've got is Demonars ran away a bit. Jason's in second place. He pitted a lap before Dave. Twilight's run a little bit wide there. Be careful. Arpal's all over the back of Gary here. I mean, these two had a brilliant race at Sardegna, and it's no surprise to see them battling again here. He's going to pull to the inside. Is Gary going to go to the inside? Arpal's having a look, but Gary's got the slipstream late on the brakes. Can he get it slowed down? Just, but Gary will have the faster run out of the corner. But Arpal's covered it off, has he? No. Yes. No.
I'm saying.
Yes. Just. Oh. They're still side by side. Side by side, friends. A good fair play. It's not easy to do. Good battle. Twilight's probably sat there thinking, why? Oh, why? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Jimmy's side pit as well.
SGP's got a run on Dave the Harp. So Dave the Harp's done quite well on his tyres, you know. SGP's tyres are still fairly fresh, considering he pitted 7-8 minutes ago. For Dave the Harp, though, yeah, I mean, he's on target for doing the two-stop strategy, something he may have struggled to do a bit over the course of this championship. I mean, Jason jumped him at the pit stops, but, yeah, Jason pitting earlier will hurt later on.
SGP went wide in that corner to try and get the run up the hill, and has he got it? It looks like. Oh.
Just enough room given there. Good battle. This is where the dirty air is really going to kick in. See SGP running that a little bit wider. He wouldn't have wanted to. Is he going to have a look up the inside? He is having a look up the inside. How brave is he going to be on the brakes? I think Dave's realised he's there. Is he going to have a look for a switch back or just take that wide line? Oh no, I don't know. Maybe Dave felt he didn't have the grip to really push it there, or maybe thought, you know what, let's not lose the time, because Steve F1 is still right behind him. A bit of air for SGP's right tyres there.
Sorry, what was that about his tyre?
A bit of air.
What was it?
Yeah, the curb went up. Jimmy.
Oh, right. I was about to say, there's usually air in the tyres.
I know, it was a double pun. Dave the Harp's going for the pits.
Going for the pits.
So,
what we got? 15 minutes?
17
minutes.
I'm thinking Dave may have just done a bit of a change of strategy. I don't know if it'll work. Steve F1 and Artpal battling side by side. And Artpal makes the move. Nice overtake there into turn 1. And Rich Blues gets through as well. So if Steve F1 thought he was going to have it all his own way, now he's caught back up. Oh, think again. But he goes for the move.
Goes for the move and broke back. And then he's going to... Well, they're all behind Artpal. He's going to have the dirty air. So hopefully we get to see it in effect.
Yep, that's true. I was mentioning earlier as well about the boost that Steve F1 would have been getting. About 6 seconds a lap of boost, which means in 10 laps he'd have had 60 seconds of boost, and it's a minute and a half a lap, so 15 laps. and you could catch back up. So he's done really well to catch up by the time he had. We're on lap 16 now, so he's kind of ahead of schedule, and you could say potentially still in with a chance of getting something decent result out of this race. It might all depend on what Art Pal can do as the Steve F1 goes up the inside into not stopping. Art Pal, coming back at him. Nice move.
Nice move.
Jason,
That was a
go on.
good move.
It was.
Jason in the pits.
Yeah,
again.
I think Jason's reacted to Dave the Arp. Steve F1's going to have the inside line for turn 1 into Demon's elbow. Is he going to be late on the brakes? No, Art Pal keeping it nice and tight. Side by side they still go. Nice battling, and Rich Blues is still there with Jimmy. I would hope Steve F1 is enjoying this at the moment. He's had 18 minutes of running on his own, and then he's in the thick of it.
That'll be the first battle he's had in a while.
that is true. Maybe it's just because he's in a red car. Everybody likes battling with it. Oh, he's gone big wide. I wonder if that was the dirty air. Rich Blues has got a run on him now. We've not really said that many times before. Rich Blues got a run on Steve F1 down the hill. Steve F1 goes defensive, manages to stay ahead. I thought Rich may have a cheeky look in the braking zone, but perhaps thinks better of it. Okay, pit stops. For those that are two-stopping, probably pitting now would be the earliest opportunity. I think if you're SGP, you might have to pit now. Steve F1 wobbly and tags the wall. Even the best of us can do it. Demon R's in the pits.
SGP doesn't want to have a repeat of the last pit stop, does he?
No, is he going to follow in now, though? I mean, he's not. He's continued on. Oh, I think he should have pitted, especially
everybody else.
Actually, you know what? That actually might work okay for him. Dave the Arc trying to make a move on Rich down into turn 1. So Steve F1 did pit at that point. But yeah, I think SGP may just get away with it. I think if he pits at the end of this lap, I think he might just come out ahead of Jason, or just behind Jason, because Jason pitted a lap ago.
Yeah.
Well, Demon R's come out in second place, so he's definitely not got a problem with traffic. Hay and Jason, they're side by side though.
Dave the Harp's right behind Deep Belly Wad, right behind Demon R. He's kind of just got a bit of a gap now, so.
Well, he's got another stop to do, hasn't he? He pitted with 21 minutes gone, 22 minutes gone, no, 23 minutes gone.
I thought he'd done a second pit stop.
He's done a second pit stop, but he ain't getting to the end. There's no way. Yeah, there's no way you can do 17 minutes on. Well, let's put it this way. I doubt SGP could do 17 minutes on a set of tyres. No offence, Dave, but you're not doing 17 minutes.
Oh, he hit the wall and tagged a wee bit of Jason, but Jason's got the move done. Now his next target is going to be Rich Blues. He wants to get past as many of these as possible to put the pressure on SGP when he pits. He's not pitted. SGP's still going.
Ooh, that may be a bad call. And interestingly as well, Jason and Dave the Harp, they are kind of in a battle. I don't think Jason will need to pit again, because when he pitted, is he going to go for the move here on Rich? Oh, Rich went middle of the road. Jason is going to go for it. Is that Gary having a look up the inside of Hay as well? Yeah, side by side they go. Jason's got through. Steve F1 has just made a move on Art Pal.
Yeah, I'd seen that in the background. And it's on Pat Cam, Jesus, I've just seen
that. Yeah, that's where I saw it. So this pack of cars now is what SGP could find himself coming out behind. I do think he should have pitted the previous lap. Jason's got himself a nice little gap to Rich Blues. Steve F1, well, I think he... Oh, Gary! Oh, no! Can he save it? Can he not?
Wow. Really? Even on two wheels, they saved it.
That he did. Is that Art Pal and Steve F1 and Hay side by side? That's like an Oreo jam sandwich.
An Oreo jam sandwich. As Art Pal comes back at Steve F1, these two have been battling. If it's not Gary and Art Pal, it's been Steve F1 and Art Pal.
Oh, someone's wide!
Oh, something's wide. Is that Gary?
It was Jimmy. I think, yeah, it was Jimmy, I think. because Rich is at the head of this pack still.
Oh, there's Gary at the back there.
SGP's in the pits now. Steve F1 going for the move up the inside. He definitely went late on the brake. Either that or Rich went early on the brakes, because Rich has lost out to Art Pal as well. And to Rich is going for the pits.
Gary and Rich, the way they dive across. Dave the Harp's in the pits as well.
There's SGP. Okay, so that hasn't worked out too bad for SGP then, in terms of the traffic he's going to have. He's got Hey, Art Pal, Steve F1, Jason and Demon R. And I think at least 4 of those... Oh dear! Oh, unlucky Hey. Yeah, I think I was going to say 4 of those I think will be getting to the end. After that, I don't think Hay will be getting to the end. Art Pal's tyres are alright. I think he can get to the end. I think Steve F1 pitted at the same time, so I think his tyres will be alright. This could be very interesting then. I reckon we might have a bit of a fight going on here, Ray, for second place.
Yeah. It's Art Pal, SGP, Jason and Dave the Harp and Steve F1.
Absolutely. I mean, Dave the Harp's in 8th at the moment, so he must have done his last pit stop as well. So he's switched his strategy in the hope of jumping Jason at some point. I mean, I don't know if he's thinking that Jason will pit again. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't, to be fair. We know what he can be like on his tyres. Art Pal running in 4th at the moment. He's doing quite well, I'll say. Let's see who's behind him. SGP. SGP can't afford to hang around because he's got...
there's Dave the Harp.
Yeah, and Jimmy. There was also someone else behind them, but they went off at not stopping because it didn't stop. And I did also mention, I mentioned about everybody likes to battle a red car. Talking things red. Did you know that nurses love red crayons?
Why?
Because sometimes they have to draw blood.
Oh, no, it was coming. As we see Dave the Harp get past Jimmy trying to look to come back at Brokeback here.
Yeah, look at the pack cap. Steve F1's closed in on the back of Jason as well. We're not looking at it on the main screen, so that would suggest that the cameraman doesn't want to watch Steve. Oh, no, okay, we're on it now. As Art Pal is on the pack cam looking back at SGP. So Steve F1, can he make a move on Jason and take second place, Ray?
We'll soon find out. But Demon R's got a pretty nice gap.
Thank you very much.
Between himself and Jason. Or this battle, should I say. Where would you want to overtake? Would you want to overtake into the last corner? Whoa, what happened to Jason's car there? No scientists could explain that happening.
Well, that is true. I mean, Steve F1 is taking the wider entry to try and get the... I would perhaps look for turn 1. Get through at turn 1, try and break away into Brokeback and up the S's and hope and hold on down to the hairpin. The other option is at the hairpin. Steve F1 though may have to make a move because they're being closed in. No, sorry, we're looking at SGP now. All over the back of Art Pal, sidebar of Art Pal. Steve F1 hasn't gone for making a move. So these two being side by side though. Oh, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they're not. Yes, they are. No, they're not.
Yeah, it looks like SGP's got the move now. Dave the Harp's all over the back. Art Pal is going in for the inside move. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, Art Pal eventually defended it.
Yeah, hard defending from Art Pal there.
Oh, Jimmy had a look as well. Gary's giving him a bump draft. Jimmy would not have had the pace on the exit of that corner with it being the tight line, but Gary giving him the bump draft has allowed Jimmy to get ahead of Dave. That's compromised Dave's position on the racetrack. Oh! That was a bit code brown. Gary now having a look up the inside of Dave. So Gary taking opportunity if he can.
Oh, he's backed out. Realised the gap was closing there.
Yeah, now Jimmy's got to run on Formula Gary. Steve F1's still close to the back of Jason. Hasn't been able to try and make a move. Maybe he'll have a look into not stopping or just set Jason up. As Art Pal's got Dave the Arp closing in on him in the pack cam. Steve F1 makes the move then into not stopping. But Ray, is it the right thing to do? Well, by the looks of it, no.
No, he's tucked in behind it. I'm just looking at the pack cam as well. I'm trying to see what's going on with that battle back there.
Well, I can tell you that.
There we go.
I can tell you that Steve F1 did get ahead of Jason at the final corner, but Jason come right back past him on the exit of the corner.
Dave the Harp having another look at Art Pal. He can't really do anything here. So it's a slipstream down to Brokeback and maybe able to throw it in the inside of Brokeback, but
I think Dave's going to have to go. Oh, I was going to say,
no,
I think Dave should
Gary.
Oh, Gary slowed down perhaps a bit too much there, caught Jimmy off guard. I think if I'd have been Dave, I may have been tempted to defend that there with Gary being that close. Luckily, Gary's dipped a wheel. Is he going to go wide? No, he's got away with it. He's saved it. Dave will have a decent run though on the back of Art Pal. SGP on the back of Steve F1 now.
F1.
Yeah.
Steve F1 just not been able to make any much moves to tonight. It's been mostly pit stop.
Well, I mean, he had a couple of opportunities to make a move on Jason. He's not been able to make it work. Art Pal's got Dave the Art right up his chuff. Formula Gary's still there. Steve F1 got a wobble on. And that could give SGP a bit of an opportunity. He's going again.
He's going for it. He's going for it again, but it's Jason's going to get the run back
Dave
on.
the Art's gone for it. Well, that was a bit late on the brakes. He's managed to just get through though. As Jason's got a run on on Steve F1. Sorry. Is we going to get a move? Is Jason going to do him? Is SGP going to do them both?
Oh.
No, neither.
I think Jason, if he gets a power down round outside, no, he can't. Oh, SGP, I thought he was a wee bit sideways there.
Yeah. Dave the Arp's managed to stay ahead of Art Pal. Gary got ahead of Art Pal as well. So this is very close, this battle for second place at the moment. And to be fair, Dave the Harp is not that far away, so I wouldn't be surprised if Dave the Harp, if he's not attacked, could catch up. SGP having a look to the side of Jason. That's just put his nose in.
Just try to put him on a tighter line, so as we come up over the hill, that he would be a wee bit slower, but it doesn't seem to have
Dave's
helped.
had a wobble. He's had a bigger wobble now. Oh, and he's collected Gary. Oh, if Gary wanted to lose some weight, he's just lost loads. He's been squeezed so hard into the wall. Dave's managed to somehow still face the same direction. I think Gary has as well. Gary's ahead of Dave. But yeah, that was massively unfortunate for Dave the Harp, as Jason coming under a lot of pressure with a big wobble. So yeah, can Steve F1 run away now? Can SGP catch on to the back of Jason and make her move? What can Art Pal do on the pack cam? He's got Formula Gary having a right close-up look at his rear wing. Dave the Harp is still there, and so is Jimmy. Here we go, then SGP making the move, Ray.
Yeah, let's see if he can hold it compared to Steve F1. No, he's tucked in behind. Is he going to do it in turn one? He's looking. No, he's backed out of it. Is he going to... So these two are going to battle. Is going to let Steve F1 disappear.
Pack cam. Sorry, pack
yeah,
cam.
I can see it.
Yeah. Gary had a look into turn one, couldn't quite get it done. He's had a look now into Brokeback. He's managed to get ahead. Art Pal maybe I think Art Pal got tagged from behind by Dave, and then Hay was up the inside of Dave. SGP still trying to make the move on Jason. Nearly made it work last time through the S's. Oh, look how close he is. Look how far wide he ran. Oh.
This pack isn't that far behind these two.
It's really close. I mean,
so if these keep battling, it's Gary's going to be there. Oh, Jason going for the wider line. Is he going to get the more speed?
Yep, he's managed to do it and stay ahead. You know what? I think had Dave not made that little error and collected Gary, I think they would actually be on the back of these two now. SGP was close to the apex wall there. Is he going to have another attack? Steve F1 has managed to break away a little bit. Demon R is miles ahead, crossing the finish line now. SGP having a look up the inside into not stop him. Can he hold it? Jason will get the faster exit. And he'll hold on to the position.
Jason just giving SGP the same troubles he gave Steve F1.
Absolutely. There's no Steve friends going on here, is there? No sweet friends either. Or Jason, though, is on the tighter line here, can't hold on to that one. This is where SGP's slightly fresher tyres may help him. Art Pal and Gary were side by side then. Gary's got ahead again. Dave the Harp having a look as well. So yeah, as they head now towards Brokeback. Interesting battle. I'm wondering if Rich Blues and others may have pitted again recently. You know what, Ray? We've only got 1 minute and 10 seconds left of this race.
No, Jesus, it's been a good race.
Aye, that it has.
Can Dave the Harp do anything before the last lap? Like, he's not that. They're not that far away from Jason.
Steve F1's gone deep. He's gone deep at the hairpin. Can he hold on? Can he get the car? I think he's struggling on his tyres a little bit. I think it's SGP's tyres were definitely fresher. SGP's definitely there. Dave the Arp is side by side with Arpal, so he was trying to make a move. Sorry to sort of butt in there, Ray.
Yeah, he's made the move on Arpal. Dave. I just destroyed his tyres there and destroyed him.
Yeah, talk about banging your head against the wall. But yeah, I mean, the things as well, with it being the time left in the race now as well, that may be complete disaster for Dave the Arp. SGP has got a run here on Steve F1. Is he going to be brave on the brakes? He's having a look. And as you said on other occasions, he's got the outside line here, which is the faster line through the exit of 2, and he is ahead. Steve F1 can't keep it in there. On the pack cam, we've got Rich Blues just ahead. No, he's not. He's just spun it on the exit of 2. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's let Twilight through.
Arpal, Gary brought back. Yeah.
Oh, where's Gary?
There's Gary. Gary.
He's off.
Gary. There he is.
Oh, there's Twilight. Arpal's slowing down. I'm wondering if Arpal thinks he tagged the back of Gary and put Gary off. Maybe he did. That's allowed Twilight through to 5th place. We've not really seen him for most of this race, and I suppose I should let you know, Ray, that Twilight don't like this car. Twilight don't like this track.
Don't like this track.
Twilight's using a pad.
He's using a pad?
He's using a pad as Formula Gary makes the move. He's ran wide as Twilight. Gary's made the move on Arpal, though. We are on the final lap. The leader's going through the final corner now. Gary and Arpal, surprise, surprise, side by side, as Demon R is going to cross the line, take the victory.
Jason!
Has he done him? He's done Steve F1 in the final corner. What's happening with Arpal and Formula Gary? They were side by side. Arpal's had the inside line to the final corner. So Jason's 3rd, Steve F1 4th, Twilight's in 5th. Can Gary get Arpal? It's not Gary, it's Jimmy. Where's Gary?
Where's Gary gone? Gary?
Here's Gary. What happened to Gary? I don't know. I think Dave's steering's just broke. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, what a finish.
I was wondering, I would fear that may, because the race got so spread out early on, I feared that, it might be a bit of a dull one. It definitely was not dull. I'm sweating again. Very interesting race with a lot going on right at the end. I mean, we've talked many times in races this championship about strategy. I ain't got a clue what most people's strategy was in that one. But, I mean, it was so close to being like a 7-8 car battle for that second place. In those last sort of 5 minutes. I've got to say, brilliant racing we've had once again. Your thoughts?
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic racing. All the battles going on up and down the pack. Although up the front it was a wee bit boring, but that pack just shows you how close the guys can race with each other.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've always said that accidents will happen, things can happen, you clip a curb wrong or whatever, and contact can sometimes be made. We saw it with, I think it was Jimmy and Dave, where I think Jimmy got on the curb big time, big wobble, and nearly lost it, and I think tagged the side of Dave. That could happen. It's so easy. I mean, we saw Hayes spin a few times, and if there'd have been a car next to him, it'd have absolutely annihilated him. But obviously, it's just accidents. Shit happens. But we've had some brilliant wheel-to-wheel racing through this race, all the way through the field. It's really riveting to watch. A great way to end the championship. A couple of things to touch on. You're right, a bit. It was a bit boring up at the front. Blame SGP for that, for number 1, not doing the undercut on Demon R at the first round of pit stops, and number 2, not then pitting at the same lap.
And the second pit stop as well.
Yeah, well, the second one kind of worked for him because he did end up finishing in second place. So, yeah, I mean, could he have done an early pit stop at the end? Like that second pit stop, done it a bit earlier to try and catch Demon R? I don't know. I think Demon R was perhaps too far ahead. But, I mean, I'm thinking that perhaps SGP, I mentioned at the time, maybe he was hoping that Demon R would get stuck in traffic, and that would allow SGP to pit and come out still close or ahead, and it didn't work at all, unfortunately. And yeah, after that there wasn't really a battle for the lead. I was surprised Demon R won the race. No. Is the Champions Challenge created so Demon R can win races? No. It's created so that it gives other people the opportunity to win races, but also gives the champion that challenge of well now you're out the spotlight for 20 minutes. This ain't about you, because you've had the spotlight on you for most of the season. This is about everybody else. And then for that last 20 minutes, it's okay, you're the champion, how do you cope in the pack? Yeah, it was very exciting to see, but it gives other people, so people like we saw Rich Blues legit battling with Steve F1, Formula Gary legit battling with Steve F1, Art Pal battling with him, so people that he perhaps doesn't normally or hasn't been having to battle with, he now ended up in a sort of 15-minute section of that race of being right in the fight with them, and I think it's good for those other drivers, and also good for the champion like Steve F1 or me to be humbled a bit and experience the pack a bit more.
I bet he thought it was a pack of Max Verstappen's around him.
I don't know. No, Danny Ricciardo's. But no, I mean, he's had a good race there. I think his tyres may have just gone off a bit at the end. And to be fair, I mean, we mentioned it. This track was yellow on the tyre indicator, so a 2-stop is possible. But if you're in mega battles, or you hit a few walls, or you go deep at a few corners, it may get a little more difficult. And that may be the case with Steve F1, because normally you'd say, well, if Steve F1 pitting 13 minutes, 14 minutes from the end of the race, I'll easily get to the end if he's at the front, like Demon R did. But when you're in the battle, it changes things massively. SGP, yeah, should have pitted when he should have pitted, but he's had an interesting run in the pack as well, and catching up to Jason and Steve F1 in that final stint. I think he'll be fairly happy with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Jason stealing the position off Steve F1 at the final corner. You know he would have absolutely loved that. Especially when Steve F1 started nearly a lap down. Yeah, so, I mean, for Jason, I think Jason's had another Jason race, hasn't he? He's been solid, quick. Did have to deal with the traffic and the pack. Did go for the undercut on Dave the Harp at the first pit stop. It worked, and I think ultimately it led to Dave the Harp changing his strategy. I don't know if that was the right thing for Dave to do or not. It's difficult to say because you never know what could have happened. But yeah, I think Jason's had a solid race.
Yeah, great racing from Jason as well. We always see that Jason at the first half of the race. He's not as quick as he is in the second half of the race, but that last corner overtake, I bet Steve F1's heart just sank.
Yeah. Especially when
he must have felt like SGP.
well, I was going to say, considering that Steve F1 was stuck behind Jason for so long and couldn't get past him, and then Jason just comes and steals the place off him in the final corner. But having said that, I mean, Steve F1 went deep at the hairpin, didn't he? And that's kind of what led to that situation happening. That put SGP on him. which then allowed Jason to also get. So yeah, who finished after?
Fifth place was
Twilight.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jason was third, then Steve F1, fifth, Twilight.
Yeah, we've spoke about Steve F1, so he's all right. Twilight. So the breaking news was that he was using a pad because his leg was buggered. So he, instead of not racing, he chose to do the race on a pad and finished fifth.
He does know he's got two legs.
Yeah, I know, but he used to drive just using one leg. He uses two now. Also, if it's the right leg, I mean, could you use your accelerator and brake with your left leg? I couldn't.
Yeah.
You can barely do it with your right leg.
I only use the accelerator with my right leg. I don't use the brake as well.
But yeah, so I mean, for Twilight doing the race on a pad, it explains why we saw him have a couple of moments at the bomb hole and stuff. And when he had that big crash where he dipped a wheel over the crest of the hill and it speared him sideways into SGP, which then sent SGP deep into the hairpin alongside Dave. So, an unusual, uncharacteristic race for Twilight because of being on the pad. But he finished fifth, so I think he'll be buzzing about that. Although he will have had that realization as well of it is so much better on a wheel.
Yeah, but doing well. We don't really see much of them, but yeah, done well. Pad
Who
hack.
finished behind?
Art Pal.
Arpal had a good race, I think. A lot of battles going on with Dave, Gary. I mean, him and Gary again, brilliant.
Steve F1.
Steve battling with Steve F1. And so, yeah, I think it's shown that Arpal has come on sort of leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in the next championship.
Yeah, did great racing from him, especially him and Gary when side by side, and what was it, most of the races this season, like the pairing, the lovers tough battle.
Yeah. But having said that, I mean, we've seen it on occasion before where sometimes you get two drivers that, I mean, we've mentioned before about Gary has he's worked a lot in the last season and this season at trying to be more aware, cleaner, stuff like that. I think it shows when you see him battling side by side and not making contact with people. That is the big indicator, and what it then results in is other people. And I remember saying this to him at the time, and I think I might have said it to you and others as well. But the more aware you are and the more space you give, the more space you'll get, and then that's when you end up with the better racing, the fairer racing. It's kind of like we know a negative mindset can spread very quickly. A positive one can take a little longer but has a slightly more profound effect. So like we know sometimes, like I'm not talking about the guys we currently race with, but we've experienced it before where you perhaps get alongside with someone and you're like, oh, he's hitting me, he keeps hitting me, every time I'm near him he hits me, and it can get frustrating whether the other person knows or not. But we've also seen what's happened when two drivers have kind of been in that situation, and the person who's felt a victim has gone, well, I'm getting alongside this person, they're probably going to hit me in a moment, so I'm just going to hold my ground or get my elbows out a bit, and things can escalate. Whereas that's when we would say, well, rather than getting elbows out, both people should be going, there's a car near me, I'll give them as much space as I can. Because then, I mean, it's like if I give you, well, actually, you're a bad example.
Excuse me?
Well, I was going to say, if I give you space in a corner, you're still going to make it as tight as possible for me through a corner. True?
Absolutely.
Well, there you go. But so, for example, okay, we joked previously about, seriously, and joked about you and Steve F1 at Spa. But one of the messages there was, okay, when you two are near each other, just make sure you try and give that extra little bit of space, because then, but like, you'll sit there and go, well, I know Steve F1 is actively trying to give me space, and he'll sit there and go, it's Ray, he's actively giving me space, and then things are easier to do and the racing is easier to do, and there's less concern. So like for Art Pal and Gary, it would appear that they have been side by side that much this season that they know if there's contact, there's nothing malicious in it. So like with Art, we saw Art Pal tag the back of Gary Centre when we was like, where's Gary gone? Broke back, yeah. Now, I could imagine in previous championships, Gary may have been frustrated by that, especially with it being quite late in the race. But he's a lot less likely to be frustrated by it, because for 39 minutes of the race, they've been side by side with no issues. So he knows that one time that's happened, it's a genuine mistake and the person's waited for him. Because he knows on every other occasion he's attempted to give him as much space as possible. And it does make for good racing. When cars are side by side, it makes for good racing. Even if an overtake isn't done, because as you mentioned, when SGP and Jason were battling, all of a sudden the cars behind start catching up. Now you've got a bit more of an interesting race going on. And yeah, that's why I find it interesting. Anyway, I've waffled on a bit there, but so who finished behind Art Pal?
Jimmy.
Jimmy? Don't know how. Well done, Jimmy. But yeah, I mean, difficult to say how Jimmy's race went. He seemed to have a good battle, or a lot of battles with Rich through that race.
Rich and Hay, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Jimmy. Never seen him as sideways as he normally is.
No. Maybe the corners just weren't
long enough.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was sideways a few times through turn 2. But I mean, I suppose when you think about it, this track, turn 2 is probably the only one where you may get sideways, because everywhere else it's sort of medium high speed corners where you're stable, apart from the hairpin. So and you're probably not going to get sideways there because of the speed that you do. But yeah, so it's been an interesting one for Jimmy, I reckon. A good result for him though. So he finished behind Jimmy.
Behind Jimmy was formerly Gary.
Yeah, something must have happened to Gary after Art had let him back through.
Were they not side by side at the bus stop, Mitch's bumhole area? I'm sure they were.
I don't know. I think they were close. Yeah, they were close heading to it, I think. But yeah, so I mean, I would guess that if something happened with someone else that they either didn't know or they would have waited. So I don't know whether Gary has perhaps hit Mitch's bumhole or not. Unfortunately, I don't know for certain. I probably should have checked, but I'm not at the time. But I think again.
Plus, he had the best overtake where he got smacked into a wall and still overtook.
Yeah, where Dave had his moment and he squeezed him into the wall. I mean, Gary's had a great race. I think a really exciting race. I think Gary should be. Although I know he's had a few frustrations at times in this championship, especially with internet. I think he should actually be proud of himself at how he has been tending to conduct himself. But I mean, I say that from a kind of a neutral perspective. If he has been up to stuff, I've not seen it, and if he has been up to stuff, people should be reporting it so we can make him aware of it as well as us. I suppose that's always a concern when doing like commentary. You're going, oh yeah, he's done really well. He's had a great race. Well, from my perspective, from what I've seen, I don't know if anything bad's good. For all I know, he could have been like I don't know, murdering OAPs down at Brokeback every time he went through, but I didn't see it.
He sounded, but in racing and in the battles, he's been sounding a lot calmer.
Absolutely.
That shows you that he has
Don't say matured. If there's one thing
Nah,
he hasn't
nah.
done, it's matured.
not mature, but he's
Grown.
relaxed a bit.
Yeah.
Because I watched something the other day, and it was your teammate telling you to calm down in a race.
Was it? That must have been some time ago.
Yeah, it was some time ago.
God knows who. Was that Kev?
Yeah.
Oh.
You were at China and somebody smacked you or something. All I hear is Kev saying, it's okay, you've got it, calm down.
I remember. It wouldn't have been you that hit me, would it?
Nah, I wasn't racing at that time.
No.
But yeah.
I wonder if that was that the China race where I was miles ahead or where I was miles behind?
No, you and Kev had quite a good race.
Fair.
Yeah. I think.
We did used to have some really good ones.
After Gary's, we had Rich Blues. Seen him in with the battles as well.
Yeah, considering that Rich has been on holiday for 2 weeks, and I think he only came back a day or two before the race, didn't have any practice. I suppose that's where, because everybody knows the Seaside, and we all like the Seaside, he was able to sort of jump in the car and kind of know what the car can do and the track. I think he's done brilliantly, to be fair, because he was right in the fight. He was. I wasn't going to say aggressive, more confident. I would say. Definitely happy to take the fight to people.
Yeah, he's grown as well because back a few seasons ago he wouldn't go for a battle. He would kind of just give the space or give the place up, and I think he was just working on his racecraft. Where now you get beside him, you're going to have a battle.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the thing is, I like that. I want him to do that because I mean it's one of those things as well. I mean, no offense to Rich or anyone, but if Rich puts up the fight and makes an overtake on Steve F1, SGP, me, Jason, Dave the Arp, who else? The Dirty Champion. It will make him more
Confident,
but also proud of himself. It'll mean that a little bit more because it's like, I've just done a legit overtake on so and so.
Yeah, as he's driving past and going, "Get up, yeah."
Yeah, and then spin to the next corner. But that's not the point. But no, I mean I jest. But yeah, it can have that effect of boosting the confidence. And to be fair, he should be confident. So yeah. So who was behind Rich?
Dave the Harp.
Dave the Harp. Yeah, I think Dave had a couple of big crashes on his own. On what was it? We saw. Did he hit the bomb hole? He did. Yes, he hit the bomb hole late on the penultimate lap. And that I think that pretty much ruined it for him then. And then I think on the final lap with his tyres sort of dying, I think he had another crash up the S's, which is a shame because he had a brilliant race before that.
Yeah, he looked strong as well. He looked strong in the race.
Yeah. I mean, his pace in that first stint was good. He was comfortably running third. Pitted at a good time. Could always question whether the change of strategy was right or wrong. Dave felt that was the right thing to do for him. I'm not going to argue with that. It did mean he ended up in a bit more of a battle. It made it interesting for us.
Yep, there was It looked as if it was going to be an interesting battle. Just unfortunate for the couple of mistakes or crashes.
Yep.
And
Hey, finished.
he, yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, finished a lap down. Not really a lap down. He just didn't manage to cross the finish line in time to get the extra lap, so he wasn't lapped. He's had an eventful race, that's for certain. Made some good fights of situations. Also got very unlucky on a few of the curbs.
It wasn't. He was. Art Pal and Steve F1. They were in the Oreo Gems.
Oh yeah.
Sandwich. Yeah, so he's been getting. I'm not going to say elbows out. He's been getting into battles and having a good few battles with people.
That he has.
So,
Also, I think he had some internet connection issues recently, which I think he's been able to partially solve, which has allowed others to know where he is more, which then means you can battle that a bit more. Because when you know where someone is, it's a lot easier to fight them. But yeah, I mean, we know that Hay can be, when he wants to be, he can be difficult to overtake. I know that this car's not the easiest of car to use on a pad. I don't know how he'll get on with the next car, because I think the next car may be, I was going to say a little twitchy, but I think finding the rhythm of what that car can do will be key for anyone that uses a pad, really, because you basically need to work out how to navigate through first and second gear, then you're okay for the gears, and then it's just how much throttle do you need to not have on when you're steering. So for anyone that doesn't know, one way of doing it is always go full lock steering, but the faster you go, the less you steer. So if it's really fast corners, you can still go full lock, but the car doesn't actually turn full lock. It can only turn so far on a pad. There you go. Anything else you want to mention about Hayes' race?
is that how Twilight got 5th place?
I think it might be, yeah, just full lock everyone.
Yeah, great battles he's had. Seen him a bit more this season. He looked like he was having a great race out there today.
I would agree with that. Okay, I just want to quickly mention that there's not going to be a G-Spot this Monday because, number one, there hasn't really been anything brought to our attention from this race that we want to have a look at. There's a couple of things from the previous race that I may want to have a look at, but I haven't really had time to put anything together. So what we're going to potentially do is not this coming Thursday, the Thursday after, we are hoping to put out a G-Spot video for that, if I'm right. I think that's what we were saying. Or are we going to do it on the Sunday? Or is it going to be the Monday?
I don't know.
Well, you've mentioned it about making
I
so.
I thought the Thursday, like this Thursday coming, but if you've not got the time, then you can.
We can take a break for a week.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. If we take a break for a week, because what we can do is, let's say there's one or two things that I may want to sort of have a look at from the previous race. I don't think there was anything from this race, but if there was anything that somebody wants us to have a look at from this race, feel free to let us know. But what I would also say is, with us having a couple of weeks potentially for this next G-Spot, if there is anything that the drivers want us to talk about, discuss, look into, we can do that. Because what we may also be able to do, or I'm hoping to do, is to actually have the Steves in on that G-Spot. So we can get more of their view on something. So it could be, I don't know, you want us to talk about boost or qualifying or traction control or anything else on the radars, or whether you want to know, like, I'm trying to think of examples now, like not definitions, but have a look at examples of dive bombs, or what is a dive bomb, what isn't a dive, and all that kind of stuff. So if there's anything that you want us to look into, let us know. If you don't let us know anything, I don't know what we'll be doing on the G-spot, but maybe we'll think of something. You got any thoughts?
Not at the top of my head, no.
Oh, okay. Okay, obviously there was a few people that weren't able to race in this race. There's also a few people that weren't able to do many races in this championship. So I suppose you should mention those quickly. Conrad wasn't able to race this week as the football team he runs had a football match, I believe. But Connor's had a very sort of up and down championship. Rapid, but also a bit, unfortunately, a bit Leclerc. So rapid, but unfortunately could end up putting a Ferrari backwards into a wall. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe Connor could do with rubbing off Gary a bit, and you never know what could happen in the future. I think overall he's had a good season. Just been either very unlucky or perhaps just danced a little bit too close to that limit for too long, and sometimes when you're on that knife edge you can fall either way.
Yeah, it's just like because most of the drivers do the practice, I kind of get that what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, consistency or whatever it is.
Just think of consistency.
Okay. So yeah, it can be fast over a lap or so many laps, and then something distracts them or just forgets a braking point.
But I think,
and
sorry, I was going to say, I think for a lot of sort of the spins we've perhaps seen him have, is they're the things that, like for those of us that are able to do a practice, they're the spins that we have on a Monday in a practice session. So when it comes to Thursday, we're perhaps, okay, I'll take it a bit easier through this corner, because if I do run an inch wide, I'm spinning. So for Connor, I think part of it is sort of like that. We get the I was going to say errors out of the way, but I don't know if they are errors. We get the bad luck out of the way on a Monday for the most part. Unfortunately.
Yeah, but when he's not had his spin in that, he's fast and I don't know if aggressive is the word I want to use, but he gets overtakes done quickly as possible.
Do you know what's
There's
faster?
No hanging about.
Do you know what's faster than one, Connor?
What?
18 corners. Oh dear. Okay, so who else? Mitch. We've not seen Mitch a lot this championship, which is a shame, because we know there was rapid in this car. But unfortunately, life and work gets in the way. I mean, he did let us know prior to the season that he didn't know how many of the races he'd be able to do. And I think he did sort of offer up the opportunity for someone to take his seat, but I think the sort of decision was made like, no, the seat's yours if you're able to race, come race. Because there wasn't really, I mean, we weren't really looking at bringing anybody else in at the time anyway, and we weren't just going to give the position to someone. So hopefully for Mitch, life and work will calm down a little bit and we'll be able to see him on the racetrack, because I mean, let's face it, he's another driver that can take the fight to Steve, Demon R, and that lot, and we know he can win championships.
Yep.
Yeah, who else?
Fluffy.
Fluffy was unfortunate this week. Hopefully his lad's okay. He was in the hospital on Thursday. Fluffy's had a difficult championship because, again, he's not had the chance to practice, has he? but Fluffy being Fluffy, he's quick, but he's also Leclerc.
Puts on a show and goes home.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say something really rude then, yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's aware that he's had a couple of penalties in this championship, but Fluffy's been so busy in his personal life that I know he's missed a few races, and the ones that he has attended, he's literally sort of got on at half an hour before the race, and he's off straight after the race and hasn't really had time for anything else. So, which is a bit of a shame, but again, sometimes life just gets in the way. I do know that he does seem to like the next car. I just hope that he's able to get on with it with a very short amount of practice.
Yeah, he's been good in the battles and that, and he's like a mini me Conrad, isn't he? He gets the moments.
Yep. I mean, I suppose this is one of the things with the advantage of one of the reasons why we have the boost on as well. Sometimes people don't get the chance to do laps, and we don't enforce that people have to. But at least people can come on and still be competitive. They can still be in a battle. They're not left behind wallowing, thinking what could have been. Who else have we got then? Who have I forgotten? I know of one that I've forgotten, but I'm waiting on him.
2 seconds. I'll double check. How many have we went through so far?
I don't know. Oh, SRI wasn't in this race, was he?
I thought that was the one you were.
No. I forgot about SRI. Shame SRI wasn't able to race because he knows this track, knows his car, and I genuinely think would have had a possibility of a win. I genuinely do think that. I mean, we've seen SRI battle with Demonar a few times this championship, and we've even seen him beat Demonar a couple of times this championship, which means that there would have been the possibility of SRI having a chance of winning this race, especially considering the amount of laps that he's done around this track.
Yeah, he's one of the ones, and he's either there or not there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Alf is like Alonso. Can't understand a bloody word he says and loves chickens. But and I believe the last person is Bunsel.
Yeah, Bunsel.
I mean, Bunsel, I think, has only been able to do 1 or 2 races this championship. I know he raced in Suzuka, but I mean, unfortunately for Bunsel, he's another one where it's sort of life is getting in the way at the moment, but it's so that I think he's been like learning HGV driving, he's like taking his class 2 licenses and stuff, so there's been a lot of that and working, so yeah, he's not having as much social time as he'd like at the moment, but it's in the hope that he'll get more social time in the future and more money, so can't really hold that against him. What we can say is it has been another championship where Bunsel hasn't had a penalty.
Yeah.
So next championship we might have the BG spot. My mind's going into very dirty alleyways at the moment. I better stop.
But yeah, Bunsel's more. He gets in the pack, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Has good battles when he's on show.
That he does. He also likes doing a bit of farming, doesn't he? I know he's like I mentioned he's doing his class 2. He loves a bit of farming. Which begs the question, how do you get a country girl's attention?
I don't know.
a tractor.
Alright.
Okay, so what should we talk about next, Ray? How about we mention a little bit about
Next season?
the next season? Obviously, we're going to have 2 Thursdays off from league events. I'm sure we'll still be on doing a bit of random driving. The next season in the Super Formula, of which we still don't have a name for that championship. So send it to the page if you've got any ideas. So let's see. So the car, it doesn't matter if you use the Honda or the Toyota. The car's going to be set at 600 brake horse. There's a bit of information here which is incorrect. This says no TC, but actually traction control is allowed, and that's something we'll touch on in a moment. Fuel usage is off, and tyres are going to be the racing softs with times 20 wear. Now, some people are going to think that tyre wear is brutal. I do believe it's been set at a rate so that we are going to be looking more at 3-stop races. That will be the norm. And what I will say is, if you are killing your tyres in 6 minutes at Spain, you need to adjust how you're driving, because you're probably either hammering second gear too much or going too fast into corners. The Super Formula does not like being abused at lower speeds. If you're too aggressive in first gear, second gear, it'll spin up the tyres and they'll die. And that is one of the reasons why traction control is allowed, because if people get too eager on the start line, they could very easily just spin the car, and starting in second or third gear won't help you. It'll just make you spin faster. So we may see a few launch control traction control starts in the next championship, but it does also mean that if people are struggling with the car with its rear end, they can, if they feel they need to, use traction control, because, as I said, first and second gear can be a little bit tricky. Once you get used to the car, though, it's better than the F1500 we've just been using. And there is also an overtake button, so make sure you've got one of those assigned where you'll be able to use it in one of a few ways. You can do 10 1 second, like you can press the button and let go 10 times for a second each, or you can press it and hold it, use it all up in 10 seconds, or basically you could press it a few times at different occasions, but it's a total of 10 seconds worth of boost, I think it is, or 10 seconds worth of boost. And it doesn't recharge, so don't go using it all at the start. I mean, to be honest, I actually would recommend ignoring the fact that you've got an overtake button until you're in a situation where actually you really, really need it. And
Last lap.
yeah, exactly. And for anyone that wonders why there isn't more of the boost available, basically we don't want people driving around with their finger on a button. Trust me, after a couple of laps, it hurts. Okay, Ray, would you like to take us through the tracks?
Yep. Are these in rightful order?
I
or
believe so, yeah. I believe it is in the correct order from what I was told the other day.
So first track we're going to is Leclerc's favourite track. We're going to Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Just remember there is a chicane at the end.
Oh yes, yeah.
But nice track. Few high speed corners. Chances of getting it a bit wide if you miss your braking point down into the last hairpin?
Yes, into the hairpin,
Yeah, the hairpin, and even going wide coming up, is it turn 9 over the rest of the hill?
Yep.
Yeah. See how much I've been listening to Martin Brundle.
Do you know the name of the corner though?
Nah.
No, neither do I. I think it's called Coca-Cola actually. But,
So yeah, Barcelona track 1. Track 2, Suzuka. Nice track, nice flowing track. Should handle pretty well through the first sector, the knuckles.
yeah. Until the tyres wet.
Yeah, once the tyres go, you're screwed.
Oh,
Just like any track.
yeah.
After Suzuka, Fuji. Not a track we would race on a lot, but nice to stick that in there. Big long straight. Is it the short one or the long version?
I don't know,
The one with the chicane?
I think it's the one without the chicane.
Yeah, probably. Well, we'll confirm that.
Yeah, we can blame SGP for not giving us the full information on that one.
Yeah, Fuji, nice track. Gonna be quite interesting because there's not much corner after corner. It's more like you've got the long straight, turn 1, then you've got another straight, turn 2, then you've got a long right hand. So it's going to be interesting how people deal with that.
Also, that final sector with the off-camber corners, the tyres struggling a bit. I think it's one of those sectors where if people go too aggressive, their tyres will die and they'll end up slow down the straights. It's definitely going to be an interesting one, is Fuji.
Yeah, especially going to turn 1 in the middle of the pack. Should be 5 wide.
Yeah. Good point.
After Fuji, we're going to Spa. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice track. Don't really get on with it. You can ask Steve F1 why. But yeah, nice.
Maybe that's what we should do in the G Spot. We've referenced Spa, but to be honest, I don't think I've got the footage of that anymore.
Yeah, Spa, iconic track as well. So yeah, going to be a lot of fun watching people lose it going up La Rouge or going through Pouon.
Yeah.
and actually pooing herself because I've went wide.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, Spa, it's not really a tyre killer, but it kind of is a bit nasty on tyre wear. But it's such a long lap that if you time your pit stop wrong, you can lose so much time. Or if you pit too soon, you could be very, very slow at the end of a stint. So it'd be very interesting to see how Spa goes.
Yeah, and then after Spa, we've got Brazil. That's interesting. The middle sector of that, middle to the end of the track, going to be a lot of fun to see, especially on worn tyres.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we're going to Monza. Ooh.
Definitely not high tyre wear there. There's more chance of tyres going cold. But I think it's only right that Monza's a track we go to in these cars.
Yep, and it's one with both chicanes, I think.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so going to see a lot of battles going into the chicanes.
We could see a lot of spins on the exit in the first one as well, because people may be tempted to use first gear, but if they do, they'll kill the tyres, and if they've got steering lock on, they'll spin. So if they're in second gear, it'll be nicer on the tyres, but if they've still got steering lock on, they could spin. There might have to be a lot of short shifting. So there's potential for a lot of error generators at Monza.
Yeah, and after that we're going to Maggiore GP2.
I'll be honest, I can't remember which one that is.
No.
I think it's Magyar GP's the longer track, I think. I genuinely, without looking at the track map, I couldn't tell you which layout that is. I'm sure it'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be fine.
Yep.
There'll be no problems there. Just remember, use your boost in the last lap.
Yeah, and use your radar.
use your eyeballs, and we did do it in the. Did you do it in the G spot with the radar? I can't remember. The differences of the.
Yes, we did with the Super Formula.
Yeah.
I don't know how you forgot that. We saw at least 3 rays and 1 not ray.
Yeah, because I wanted to put it behind me, you know.
Alright, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah.
So yeah, use your eyeballs in that one, and yeah, boost in the last lap. I don't know the track. I couldn't even give any insight to it. Yamagiwa, maybe I too.
Maybe.
What?
Yeah, Yamagiwa and Miyabi too. Maybe I.
Don't have a clue.
I do know. Right, this is basically Yamagiwa 2 with an extra bit. And that extra bit is a really interesting bit of racetrack. There's a couple of hairpins. There's a couple of very fast corners. So it's a long track, but I think it'll be an exciting track. It's almost like if you wanted an F1 test track, it'd be a good one for it.
Yeah. Oh, I'll go on your words with that one, because I can't remember it. Yeah. Even though I've been there and tested and just checked. And then final track is going to be the DGT Seaside.
Yep, and we know all about that one. And to be fair, the Super Formula at that track will basically handle pretty much exactly the same as the F1500. Excuse me, except for on the exit of Brokeback, if you're too aggressive, you'll spin. So make sure you come off that steering. Well, thank you for taking us through the list of tracks there, Ray. We've waffled on for quite a bit, so I think we may have to sort of bring this video to an end in a moment, because we do need to check out the Confirmed Race Result and the Championship standings. But also, I still need to find out who it was that played the music on my live stream. Although, I don't believe that's why my video was set to private by YouTube. I think it was actually an upload error, an issue with the upload. I don't think it recognised a live stream from PlayStation on that day, because it's available again now. So I won't blame the person that played the music, but yeah, please don't play music when we're doing a live stream, because we end up getting having to block out those bits of audio.
Blame them.
Yes.
A 10-point penalty for playing music.
Yeah, definitely, or even singing. I mean, I had a girlfriend once that asked me to stop singing Wonderwall. I said maybe.
Bunch of bloody sent you that one.
They didn't actually, but I reckon he'll like that one. Oh dear. But don't worry.
Yeah, and on that note, we'll go to the confirmed.
No.
What? No.
I have a question for you, right? 2 questions actually. Number 1, question to everybody: send in anything you want us to deal with the G Spot. Feel free. Could it be about anything to do with racing? Just ask. And finally, I know you hate my jokes, Frank. So, when does a joke become a dad joke?
When it comes for you?
No, when it becomes apparent.
And on that note, joke, whatever you want to call it, we will go to the confirmed race results.
And the championship standings. Demon R then taking the victory in the maximum 20 points with SGP brilliantly finishing in second place. Jason in third, stealing that position right at the end. Steve F1 completing his Champions Challenge in fourth place. It very nearly was second. Twilight finished in fifth place, a great result for him. Art Pal in sixth place, just ahead of Jimmy in seventh. Formerly Gary finished in eighth place, just ahead of Rich Blues in ninth. Dave the Harp in 10th and Hay in 11th. On to the standings then. Steve F1, as we know, tops the table on 165 points, with Demon R in second place on 148. SGP has made that third place his spot on 124 points. Jason holds on to fourth on 109. Dave the Harp holds on to fifth on 88. And Twilight wins the battle for sixth with his result today. Manages to get enough points to hold on. 78 points for him. Art Powell with finishing sixth place closed the gap a bit, but 74 points for Art Pal. Formerly Gary drops down to 8th, so Art Pal has stolen the position from Gary. 73 points for Gary. Conrad, unable to race, is in 9th place on 57. Fluffy, unable to race, is in 10th on 56. And Hay very nearly caught them up as well. 11th place for Hay, 52 points. Jimmy finished in 12th, 1 point ahead of his main rival, so 36 points for Jimmy. Mitch and Rich Blues tied 13th place on 35 points, so Jimmy gets the bragging rights over Rich for the next until the end of the next championship anyway. SRI finished in 15th place on 30 points, and Bunsell in 16th on 12 points. It is a shame that a few drivers weren't able to make a few of the races this season. As I mentioned earlier, it's the way it goes sometimes. Hopefully we can see them on track a little bit more in the next championship, and also it won't be long until the admins confirm what will happen after the next championship as well, what their plans may be. What I will say though is hopefully we will do a special G-Spot in a couple of weeks time, as we are now into our off season. It'll be 3 weeks until the first race of the Super Formula, which could be one hell of a championship, especially if this season is anything to go by. Don't forget folks, merch is available. It's on the Streamlabs website. Link is in the description. And I do want to quickly say thank you to the admins for putting on the league as they do, and also to all of the drivers for taking part. And lastly, I would like to thank the viewers for watching, and also not giving me too much grief about the dodgy jokes. Hit like, subscribe, tell your friends, share. You know what to do. Have a good one everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks time. Championship in the Dynamic GT League. Have a good one everybody. I'll see you all again soon.